Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Podcast channel. It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, Richard Tomlin, Apex Auto Works, building cars for the 24 hours of lemons. If it weren't so dang hot, I'd go down there and get in the way. Later, a look at the automotive headlines this week, along with Konrad's car clinic that we didn't get to last hour. We're going to get to it this hour because we love that. Howdy, along with David Ainsley, who's filling in for Mr. COVID, Mike Mars. We have next to him King Konrad DeLong. We always need more Jeff Zekins.
Always.
I'm Don Armstrong. Thanks so much for joining us today. And also joining us right now on the Zoom, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Tomlin, Apex Auto Works. How were you so lucky to be adorned with the builder for the 24 hours of lemons?
We've just built a bunch of them, and Mars was out here, I guess, 2 weeks ago, and I think we had 5 or 6 lemons cars here in process at the moment in time, and he felt it'd be good to talk about it because I don't think a lot of the listeners understand what lemons is, and kind of like you were saying about the demolition derby, it's
Richard, if you can hear us, would you please take your phone and step outside so we can have a connection with you, because we can't.
Yeah, you're choppy.
So yeah, you have to step outside. There you go. Thank you.
It looks way better than it sounds.
What does?
The
You?
actual bar. Yeah, well, maybe. Is that better?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
much better.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
So
So Mark, go ahead.
no, I was just going to ask you, explain to everybody what the 24 hours of lemons is and where is it held?
Well, lemons started 2006. The brief history of it is a guy was racing vintage. His name was Jay Lamb. We're racing vintage cars. They would travel 5-6 hours to go race their vintage cars. MGs, Fiats, some British cars. We know how those work out, right?
Yeah.
And the cars break down.
Yes.
So the joke became I could buy a Toyota Corolla for $500 in stock trim and go out there and beat all these vintage road race cars.
Yep.
And some of his friends took him up on that challenge. Well, now fast forward to 2023, Jay runs a nationwide series and some global series called 24 Hours of Lemons, and basically impose the same rules. Find a car for $500, put a roll cage in it, put a fire system in it now, keep cheap, cheesy tires on it above a 200 treadwear, find 5 of your best friends, pay them some money, come out to the track. And it in motorsports because of it.
Fun.
You know what the problem is? He's in Alvin, Texas.
And the chipmunks are eating the wires.
Well, no, it's not the chipmunks are eating the wires. It's the cell service that's, alleged cell service that he has back there in the woods. Go ahead.
He did say Mike was there.
We'll go closer.
Okay.
So you are building cars for the 24 Hours Lemons, and I know you guys are somewhat well known for your cage work, unlike Elon and Zuckerberg,
Yeah,
who
not that
say
kind
they're
of
going to get in a
cage.
cage.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of roll cage building, certified roll cage building. And is that part of what you're doing for these people that are getting their Lemons cars ready?
Yeah, and most of my customers, the way we talk about it is they have to be at work on Monday. So our cages are built a little bit what I call in excess to make sure that there's no chance of people getting hurt best we can. And we overbuild our cages, have for a long time. 120 to 140 cars on track usually. Last couple of races, we've had over 70 of the cars that were built here at Apex.
Oh, my God. Wait, okay, stop. Where do you get 120 cars on one racetrack at the same time? Where?
MSR, 2.38 miles of road course that's 48 feet wide.
You know, I sit in traffic quite frequently, and I don't want to be in a race where I sit in 128 other cars.
Yeah, because these cars don't have air conditioning in them, do they?
Some people do, and some people run what we call the chill out, which is a cooler system that you can actually plumb into a T-shirt, for lack of a better term, and runs chilled water around your body to keep your core cooler.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
I need
I would
that.
definitely run
well.
with air conditioning.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what kind of cars are there? There's got to be one of the most popular ones. Which one is that?
Man, there's really not. So they give an award at this one called Index of Affluency, and it's really about trying to find the most weird, obscure, cool car that you can. Yeah, there's all the Miatas, there's the Corollas, there's the Ford Taurus, SHOs. That stuff's out there, but we just finished one, a Lancia Delta, or not Delta, Lancia Beta Zonda, something like that. 800 of them made. And it's like, how did you find this thing? 800 made. Found it in a junkyard in Waco. Been sitting there about 15 years. So we just got that one caged and out. Crazy looking car. Very, very weird. Fiat motor, i.e. a Ferrari, 4-cylinder, front-wheel drive. What could possibly go wrong? Everything.
All I can think of is the first when you say that, I want to get the Citroen. The Citroen,
exactly,
with that bizarre suspension, the air suspension. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it right.
You can drive it on 3 wheels.
Yeah.
Some of it becomes how good of a mechanic are you? How quickly can you fix things and identify problems to get a car back on track? Because most of us are racing true garbage. Those are doing it in the true spirit of the event. Now, there's the other side of the event that's not doing it in that, and they're running the BMW E36 M3s. They're running some of the older Mercedes AMG stuff. Cars are fast. And over the years, the event has gotten much faster. But the cars will run spec Miata times on garbage tires. So it's a whole lot of fun.
And aren't there some penalties that can be paid by certain cars where the officials say, you're too fast. We're going to weld a barn door to the roof of your car to slow you down?
Yeah, most of that's gone now. So now what they do is they penalize you on laps. Say your car looks too good, too fast. We've seen a guy get a 200-lap penalty. You usually only run 300, 350 laps. So 200-lap penalty, your race is over, but you still get to race and go have a good time. So it's changed a little bit. Some of that's gotten softer. They do have 3 classes of cars. You got your Class A, which is your fast guys, your Class B, who they want to be fast, and your Class C, who says, no, I showed up with garbage. I'm going to race garbage and have a good time.
And they're all on the track at the same time.
Correct. And day one is usually about 9 hours of racing. And then basically you wrench, depending on how much garbage you got, you wrench overnight. We've had engines and transmissions changed in the parking lot overnight, and then back on track Sunday morning to finish a 7-hour race. And then you add those two together, and that's when they crown the champions.
Wow. So it's really not 24 hours.
It is not 24 hours. They hold 4 of those races a year, 4 of the 24-hour races a year. This one that we have here, we've had one at MSR Houston. Usually they do High Plains, and then one up in Thunder Hill up north in California. So it depends on time of year, track availability, on how all that stuff works.
So
you're going to get 16 to 18 track time.
When is this race?
November 4th and 5th this year.
Well, thank God it's at least in November and not next week.
Yeah.
We've had them in August and we've had them in June, and we all thought we were going to die.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's a weekend after the Halloween, and all I can tell you is that I have gone trick-or-treating with my girls and sweated through the entire walk the neighborhood kind of trick-or-treat deal. So November 4th and 5th is still in the summertime for most places.
Candy from a baby.
Kind of like that. All right, so what is needed besides the roll cage? I assume that you take all the glass out of it?
Yeah, so you're allowed to keep all your side glass and back glass and front windshield, honestly, but you have to race with the windows down. And we encourage people to keep those in, because if you take the windows out, then you've got to either store the car in the garage, or in Houston it becomes junk in like 2 years because it's just too much humidity down here.
No.
So windows come down, fire system. You'll need a race seat. You'll need belts. We use Ultra Shield products made right here in Tyler, Texas. All the oval track guys know them. They're just now getting into the road race stuff with us. It's really, really good. And really, master switch hooked up on the car, and that's about all you have to go race.
So we talked about a $500 car that has probably now gone to $1,500.
I'm thinking more than that.
Oh, you spend more than that on a
No,
cage.
I would say a team of five to six people can get a car purchased, built, and track ready, all their gear, probably $8,000 to $9,000.
Oh my God! So much for the $500 car.
Well, the car is still 500 because they don't account your brakes because you're going to want better brakes, right? You want to be able to stop. Brakes are considered safety. Tires are considered safety. All your safety equipment is safety. All that gets taken out. So the only thing you're talking about, the $500, is the car itself. And that's how the event works. And that's where people get confused because they think the whole thing is $500 investment. It's not. The car itself is $500.
And what do you do there besides build cars? I'm sure you're some kind of officiant.
I don't officiate at this one. I am there for counsel on cages because a lot of people build their own cages. I will say last event was very humbling. I actually received an award for helping 26 other cars get back on track that had actually been booted for either a cage failure, mechanical issue, couldn't get back on track, or broke something during the race. So the last probably 4 years, I've been in the midst of literally just helping people stay on track.
Do you have one of those welder trucks?
Yeah. Well, we make it look like one. It's not really a welder truck, but we're 15 minutes from the track. If it's major, we'll bring it back to the track with a 220. If it's small stuff, we'll do it at the track with 110. It just depends on what the situation is. But you got to keep people on track to where they're having fun, to where they want to come back and do it again. If they're sitting in the pits having to wrench on a car, that's not everybody's favorite pastime, you know?
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sounds like. And have you driven in one?
I've driven in, I guess, 15, 20 of them now. I've got 11 trophies over that time. So a lot of fun. I did win one of the IOEs, and I got screwed. I've got a bunch of fun trophies.
Do you have a particular junker car when you race? I mean, you got some particular make and model car that you go out and find?
Talk a little about what I'm doing this year. So I'm joining up with a local team that we've helped a long ways along. They had a individual on the team that had the P71 Crown Vic, so police package Crown Vic. He's owned it for 11 years, so we know the maintenance on it is amazing. It's in such good shape. That's what he wanted to do with it. He got a new Demon that's his daily. So we get the car and we take it out there. They've made 3 races with it now, traveling around the country, but now the transmission's slow. So we got a Tramac 5-speed here that we're getting ready to put into the police package car. So basically it'll be a Mustang drivetrain with a P71 body that we can play and push and around the track at MSR this year.
Who's your favorite this year? Looking at the field, looking at the stable of entries.
Dude, it's hard to say because the race goes for so long. It's kind of like picking that winner at Le Mans, right? But it's worse because you got teams that have zero budget. It's just who gets lucky. A lot of luck involved in this race.
So the Lancia you're building is not one of your favorites.
Oh, no, that's going to fail immediately. The thing is, start the race and finish. Be running on the last lap. They can win what's called the IOE, which is the most prestigious award you can win at the event.
And what does IOE stand for?
That's what they're chasing. I mean, they've got to take it.
IO everyone.
Index of Fluency.
Is that IO everyone?
Doing the most with the lead.
What does that stand for?
Yeah. Index of Affluency. So doing the most with the least. Taking the car that shouldn't be making race laps at all and making race laps.
But it's a Lancia. I think I saw you had posted a picture of that on your Facebook page, and I'm like, yes. Lancia?
Is that company even in business anymore?
Well, yeah, in Italy.
I have no idea.
Tony drives it.
Tony.
Hey, Tony. Delivers pizzas in it.
God. There are so many weird things about that little car. It is nothing I want to be a part of. It takes a very mechanically minded person to get that one running.
So they paid you cash up front to build it, right?
For the cage, yeah. I mean, it was drop it off. I think we had that thing like 7 days. It was in and out. Pictures had to be approved to be posted. They're trying to keep a lot of it hush-hush. So I probably blew some of it.
I will have to tell you that I ran across in this information sheet that you gave me here, Find a Lemon's Cars, the heading. And one of the things that you've got on here is you can find them through the government, a charity, or insurance auctions. And the caption below it is, that old cop car that can't be used by normal human beings because of the quote-unquote incident in the back seat.
Right. Hey, we have had cars show up that were littered with bullet holes that were, in theory, not caused by the owners, like prior owners cars have been shot up. It's amazing what you see. Cars have rolled over. The Miata we're working on now lost control in Houston flooding, hit all four corners, took it home, went to bed that night, same storm, dropped a tree on top of it. So they bought it for $500, and they literally bought it from their neighbor. So we've had the best luck driving around neighborhoods.
And they named it Lucky. And they named it Lucky, right?
Yeah. Well, there are other places to find these cars, and here's his suggestions. eBay Motors, The Backyard is a restoration project. And when you're done with the restoration that's been sitting in the backyard for 10 years and you're done with it, well, there, put that in there. Lemons Forum. Okay, has classifieds with everything from stalled builds to turnkey race-ready cars. Craigslist, the government and charity, which I mentioned, and where not to look for Lemons cars. Always study the full Lemons rule book and how to not fail tech guide, and don't be shy about contacting Richard, really, because he knows all of this stuff when it comes to that. Well, it sounds like a ton of fun.
That's why we have him on the show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised that you actually don't have an entry, or at least the Don Armstrong Memorial entry.
Well, what we
have to die for it to be a memorial.
We need to do is have one for next year in real time, and we'll get David out there with us and Mars. And
at one time I was running 3 cars out there, but it's too much.
Too much, yeah, no doubt. Here's what I'm thinking.
Keeping 3 cars running.
Is it when I'm dead, when I die, when I leave the face of this earth?
Leave us the C5 to take?
Nope, take my corpse and put it in one of those Lemons cars and run me around the track.
There you go.
How fun would that be? That'd be kind of sick. Could you actually do that?
Tie to the roof.
Amazing.
Oh, tie me to the roof.
In a rocking chair.
Like Aunt Edna. Yeah.
Like Granny.
Aunt Edna.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Well, there's that. Well, it's always enlightening to talk with you.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, and good luck. I mean, you've certainly got time to do all these you got time like no other. I mean, the thing's not till November. Yeah. By the way.
Yeah, we've got, I think I've got 4 more lined up at this point.
When is a good time for me to bring the Corvette down there to find that errant electrical drain that I have?
After November.
Not after November. I need it before then.
Down any weekday.
Do what?
Do a quick check through the fuse block, see what we can find there.
Yeah. So I'll come down there. I'll just drop it off one day, probably on a Saturday. Is that okay?
Yeah, after the show.
Yeah, after the show. Okay.
Oh, and I did have an interesting thing for you, Don. One of my customers here said, hey, that radio show you're on, is that guy there, does he work on one of the helicopters for his channel? I was like, no, I have no idea what you're speaking about.
There's that. I try to play incognito.
Yep,
Somebody said, well, that girl, then she puts herself on television all the time. And I'm going, nobody really wants to see me, so I'd rather not press that button. Not that anybody wants to see her, but I'm just saying about me.
You've gone viral with your Challenger Hellcat.
Well, there's that. But
you've been identified. That's
12 million views now?
More than that, but somebody has.
See, he knows it's more than that.
Well, I've been told it's more than that, but at any rate, Richard, it's always fun to talk to you,
yes,
sir.
It is. Yes, it
By the way, how did Pikes Peak go?
Amazing time. 20th out of 70 cars. Car didn't have any issues, thankfully. Driver was in a very comfortable zone, in his words. He didn't push really hard, but he wanted to make sure we made it to the top, and we did that. So already got 5 applicants for next year looking to rent the car. So 2024, we'll be back up there playing again.
Well,
congratulations.
I was going to say, it's probably more fun for you doing what you do up there on the mountain than driving the car and doing all the other stuff. But tons of fun. Richard, great to talk to you, my friend.
Yeah. It's more my... we'll see you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Richard Tomlin, Apex Auto Works. If you want work done on your car and want to make a Lemons 24-hour car.
He's got to have 30 hours in his day. He's always doing something.
He's always doing something. He's tinkering in the garage.
He's got a duck line.
And the garage is behind the house, so it's easy. It's not easy to find, though. I'll tell you.
Commute to work is really good.
It's in the boonies.
Well, it not only is it in the boonies, but it's almost as if, you got to put corn behind you to get your way out of there to find your way back.
Some of those pictures there.
All right. Time now for Konrad's Car Clinic. Sorry for the postponement, but we have the car clinic, and it's ready to go, Konrad. It's all yours.
Well, we're going to talk mufflers today.
All right.
If you think about way back in the day, mufflers were put on cars to try and quiet them down, create a little back pressure, but also kind of quiet them down. If you remember, back when we were building hot rods, what was one of the mufflers of choice?
Cherry bomb.
It was the cherry bomb. So really what a cherry bomb is basically a straight pipe that had fiberglass inside of it to try and muffle the noise.
But not too much.
Not too much. But originally, when people wanted to make a hot rod, they would just put straight pipes on the car. Today, people still put straight pipes. Well, cherry bomb...
He's sitting right next to you.
Put a straight pipe on the car, but it had glass inside of it to try and muffle the noise. So how a muffler works is it changes the direction of the air, and instead of, because an engine creates a puff, each is cylinder firing event. So what the muffler's trying to do is concentrate all of those puffs into one stream of air so it can minimize the noise that's created. So that's how the muffler works internally. The air is passed through different chambers to go in one side, pass through different chambers, and go out the other side. But cherry bomb was kind of the muffler of choice back in the day. And then they made some evolutions of the cherry bomb muffler as well, and actually put some chambers in it, again trying to change the direction of the airflow inside of the muffler or cherry bomb itself. And then their direct competitor was another company called Thrush. Now, Thrush mufflers were well known because they had the, for lack of a better phrase, the little Thrush roadrunner face on it. Pretty popular sticker back in the day was to put a Thrush muffler sticker on your vehicle. And they had a pretty loud noise to them. They weren't very quiet either, but they had a relatively distinct noise to them. And different manufacturers through the years did different things to help the exhaust flow of their vehicle. That's the exhaust system of a typical Corvette.
I'm just going to say that's mine.
Yeah, typical Corvette exhaust system. And one of the things, that's a C5 exhaust system. And one of the things Chevrolet did on the C6 is they added what's basically called a cutout that cuts out the muffler and becomes a straight pipe in the exhaust system that automatically functions based on RPM and how much throttle input you have. But, Chevrolet wasn't the first person to put factory cutouts on their vehicle. Do you know who was?
No.
1969 Pontiac GTO had a factory cutout option on it, where literally you would turn a lever and you would dump the exhaust system before the muffler. Highly illegal.
I had no clue. I did not know that. Was that a John DeLorean?
Yeah, it was a John DeLorean thing, trying to create more horsepower out of the Ram Air engines. And, there's an old famous commercial of a 69 GTO driving through a drive-through, kind of looking for a street race, basically. And he opens the cutouts, makes all the noise, closes the cutouts, and drives past a cop at the end of the commercial. Yeah, pretty cool commercial.
I mean, I've never seen one. I've never heard of it before that, but it doesn't surprise me. I wonder if there are any original GTOs out there that actually have
There's
that from
one
the
that
factory.
shows up on the show circuit every now and then. It's kind of that pale metallic green that has that feature on it. So, and then there are custom exhaust systems that you can get made that can kind of tune the sound you hear.
Right.
Every now and then you hear a Mustang go by and it has basically a hollow sound to it. That's because of the mufflers that they've put on it.
Well, that and that flat plane engine.
Right.
Yeah.
So, each engine creates its own noise or pulse wave of sound. So, yep, that's mufflers. Again,
Well, that's a great story. Great one. Okay, thank you, sir. A couple of stories making automotive news headlines. The new Cadillac Celestiq ultra luxury electric sedan will start as a blank canvas, priced at around $340,000 before buyers add their personal finishes. Brand leaders said this week.
Hand built.
Cadillac Global CMO Melissa Grady Diaz disclosed the starting price in a LinkedIn post and said the brand has seen strong demand for the Celestiq since it was unveiled last year. Buyers will be notified starting this week that they can begin the process to design their cars. $340,000.
And Mary Barra still makes $29 million.
By the way, it's going to be hand-built at the Tech Center campus at the new Cadillac House of Vanderbilt. Suzanne Vanderbilt, who worked on Cadillac vehicles before joining GM Design in 1955. The facility will house a concierge service for Celestiq buyers from around the world to design their vehicles.
I'm in.
Remember, they had a concierge service for people who bought the Alante as well.
How did that work out? Japanese ship leasing company Shoei Kisen Kaisha, owner of the car carrier Fremantle Highway that caught fire off the Dutch coast last week, said Friday it'll investigate the cause of the incident in cooperation with relevant parties. Blaze broke out July 26th. Traveling from Germany to Egypt, more than 3,000 vehicles on board, killing one crew member, injuring 7 others who jumped overboard to escape the flames. You know how tall that is? It's massive. It's like, 100 feet down to the ocean.
At least.
Good luck. The local officials said the carrier arrived at the northern Dutch port of Eemshaven for salvage on Thursday.
Out?
Yes, the fire is out. The emergency responder was heard in a recording released by Dutch broadcaster RTL as saying the fire started in the battery of an electric car.
Jeff needs to put it in his calendar.
Yeah, next in 2024, the ship's going down with.
Yeah, ship's going down. Dutch company provides dredging, towage, and salvage services. Company called Royal Boskalis Westminster.
Spell that.
I've got all their albums.
Yeah, do you? All right, well, that's it for this hour of the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We got the last hour coming up. Stay with us right here on In Wheel Time. Everyone at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, thank you for participating in the best cruise-in around and look forward to seeing you again. You'll hear about the next cruise-in date right here on In Wheel Time. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex at I-10 and Highway 6 or the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. When passing through Beaumont or College Station, stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi Tortilla founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. Look for them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In. The date will be announced soon and will once again be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99 and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details right here on the In Real Time Car Talk Show and online. Donations benefit God's Garage. We'll see you then. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In Real Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Real Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Konrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InRealTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast That's channel. It for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.